Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 83 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we've got the last of our themed weekly Meatmas updates this month. And this week's theme is something that I know a whole bunch of you have been waiting forever for the next one of, which is it is a Meat Fortress update. So we're going to start small and then go up big. Where we're going to start, actually, is a set of absolutely gorgeous bespoke suppressors done in the style of the TF2 weapons. These are original designs by a TF2 community creator, Savannah Williams, who goes by Pie Savvy, and they are just gorgeous. 4 of them are made to specifically pair with the design language and logics of a TF2 weapon, and then 2 of them are a little more generic. Now, you may notice that they look a little small sitting on the table, and that's because of the fact that all suppressors in H3 are universal, so they scale to bore diameter. And because the bore diameter on TF2 weapons is huge, these scale up when they get attached. So this is our one for the handgun. I love the flared line on it. And we've got appropriately cartoony suppressor sounds for the Meat Fortress guns. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Slot you into a holster. We've got one for the revolver here. Pop that on. Wonderful. Got this slightly more diminutive one here for the SMG. I love that sound. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And of course, a huge one here. Big old boxy one for our shotgun. Wonderful. And then, as I said, we've got 2 that are more sort of universal just in terms of their visuals. We got this one, which is sort of based on an Uzi suppressor, but a bit smaller. Helps to aim. And because especially appropriate given we finally got one of these that was realistic last week, we've got ourselves an oil suppressor. Orson's Premium. I love how it's slightly off-center too. Just absolutely beautiful work. I've actually got some more absolutely beautiful original designs by Pie Savvy that are going up. We've got a big one that's going to be coming Meatmas Day that I think you'll be super excited about. And then I've got another couple things coming early next year. 1 or 2 I'd wanted to get ready for today, but you may have noticed by my congested sound, I've had a cold all week. It has been absolutely brutal. So, anywho, let's move on to the big stuff. All right, so we're over in the Meat Fortress scene. It gets a little noisy out on the playfield, so I'm going to show you how the new Engie stuff works before we jump out there. So you'll notice over here next to the Engie equipment, we've got 2 new little spawn options here. It's Denny and Della the dispensers. You want to pick the correct one for your team. I don't have it just auto-generate them just because you might not know which team you want to play on yet. But before you, when you're here, I didn't want to have it automatically assume. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves some equipment. Gotta have a wrench. And let's grab Denny here. I'm going to go ahead and grab 2, because we're going to play with one of them here. So the way these work, instead of having like the engineer's PDA and such, in part because this game doesn't have a medal system, a sort of abstracted resource system that is outside of objects. So I figured the best way to sort of limit spawning was around single-use objects. So Activate it and throw. Boom! Got ourselves a dispenser. And as you can see, there are a few things that are a little different about it. For one, our buttons here, which in the original design are actually inspired by, I think, a cigarette machine, actually function. So let's charge this up. There we go, almost. There we go. It's now full of energy. There's a number of things we can do with this. We can turn on some of its toggle abilities. If I hit this here, it now is providing a radius heal. As you can see, it's slowly draining. We can hit it to recharge it. The arrows on my controllers let me know that the regen power is active on me. We can click the center button to turn it off. We have an infinite ammo radius power we can engage, which if I pop that there, I can just fire this as much as I want. As you can see, it doesn't run out of ammo. And we can have them both active at once as sort of an emergency measure, but this drains the power very rapidly. As you can see here. So we can try to keep it above. So basically, if you want them both active at once, you have to literally babysit the sentry. If you want to just use one of them, you can actually leave the sentry and be fighting and doing other stuff for like between 1 and 2 minutes. The other things we can use this for is we've got these 2 spawn buttons at the top. The one on the left takes like 90% of the sentry's power. Need to actually add a sound there. And that brings us Scarlet, the Sentry Gun. We can move back here, activate it. Boom! And we have ourselves our wonderful little level 1 sentry. It's got some nice physics active stuff going with it. A little bit of IK on its little robot arm there. Aren't you adorable? Adorable little murder machine. Wonderful. Charge this back up, and though I can't get it to just fire automatically here, this has been modified such that this little section at the top here is actually its magazine, which will eject when it runs out of ammo. It's 150 shots, just like in TF2. We don't whack it to reload it, but because in H3 everything's more physical, we create ourselves spare magazines, which for some reason didn't spawn in this. Well, looks like we got a build bug. Well, I will fix that before the build. Just trust me that a magazine spawns to reload it. Honestly, I don't know why that broke. Embarrassing, but this is what happens when you develop with a cold for a week. Anywho, let's jump into battle and actually check this out in action. All right, here we go. We can see one of our new bot behaviors. We have a medic Sosig, which is doing a radius heal similar to the dispenser, and those actually charge up and Uber their squad mates. So let's make ourselves a bit of a defensively placed dispenser.
Walk softly, boys, but also carry out rocket launchers. You don't have to walk. President Eisenhower said that.
All right, get ourselves a Sentry Gun. Charge this up for later.
Get along, doggy.
Oh, oh.
You got a lot of my nuts.
No, no. Ah,
You are meat hot.
getting ambushed. Where do I want to put this? Let's actually put it up here. There we go. Oh no, they're Ubered. Ooh, got him. Great shot. Ooh. Took some damage.
I'm looking for you, Mo.
Grab ourselves another turret.
Come here, meat cake.
It's not going well for me. Let's get another turret out. As you can see, pyros can now explode if you hit their tank. And let's say we wanted to move this. We can actually... Oh no, I got shot while doing so. Oh, and I brought it with me. That's amusing. Respawn. Let's go, buddy. Nope, don't point. Nope. Wrong end. Let's bring this over here. Hopefully our dispenser's still up. These can take damage.
You are smaller than foolish.
Ha! Oh no, taking damage.
This was doctor-assisted drilling.
Let's get ourselves healed. Should have probably grabbed another sentry, but... Oh, looks like the other one got blown up, actually. Let's move you up.
Yeah, think you'd be wearing your sister's socks.
Oh. Oh, goodness. Get out of there. Aw. Sentry got blown up. So you should notice several new bot behaviors. The pyros have a flamer, the medics heal, there's more aggressive combat pathing. Blaster, what else? There's something else. Bunch of other little changes. Let's bring you somewhere better. Oh. This is downright mean.
Have you even baskets while I'm blowing up your friends? Now a shotgun.
Oh, and the spy's cloak. You can see one being sneaky. We're gonna sneak up on him. What we do? Oh no! That's what we do to spies here. Oh, got me. Cool. Well, you get the idea with that. Let's jump out of VR now and talk about what's working here and what the plans are for early next year for the next Meat Fortress module. Hey, look, buddy. I have no idea how to play the guitar. Clearly, it's actually been sitting there in preparation for this gag for this long. I just had not gotten around to getting the Engie Meat Fortress stuff in till now. So big thanks to Luke for the load of the guitar for far too long, and to Joe for doing this this wonderful gag with me. Anyway, let's talk about the other stuff that is in and been changed. I mentioned some of it during gameplay there, but basically the spy cloaks, and its cloaking behavior is based on its distance. It will basically remain cloaked when it is at distance from any target and won't decloak to attack until it's within a pretty close striking range. And while cloaked, the other bots cannot see it. So unless it happens to be within the sort of splash of an explosion or a pyro's flamethrower, it has a very high chance to just emergently get into the backfield. Oh, let's see. As I mentioned before, the medic heals and it actually charges up. It's basically coming out of just its backpack. It charges up its backpack and then Ubers, but when it Ubers, as you once again saw in the gameplay video, it actually does it in a bubble around it, and so can be incredibly dangerous, which has already changed a bunch of the flow of the team versus team combat because of the fact that a group can sort of line break like that. And I want to alter some elements of behavior right now. When they're ubered, they don't necessarily become more aggressive. I am going to change that though, but that's part of a larger set of behavioral changes that I want to do early next year. What else? As you might have seen, the Pyro's backpack now explodes in fire when you shoot it, and the Pyro now actually has a proper flamethrower instead of just lugging around a shotgun. The Soldier's Sosa Gun rocket launcher and the Demo's nade launcher now actually have appropriate firing sounds for those two weapons, rocket launch and a grenade launch, respectively. Yeah, and just beyond that, a bunch of other little fix and tweaks to that scene. I was able to optimize a couple things very minorly. But to talk about just sort of the vision for this scene for early next year, and what I mean by early, I mean like first quarter to third of next year, is I want to do another pass on essentially what was the team manager that I had tried to write for the initial release, but sort of ran out of time to execute my vision for. And the way that I wrote it did not end up being extensible in the way that I needed to. It took actually getting the SOSIGs with the varying sorts of weapons and the complexity of the topology of this level all together for me to realize that despite the fact that the core SOSIG AI isn't deterministic at all, it's like a layers of stimulus response machines, very unpredictable in terms of how it acts. I really needed a more deterministic architecture on top to be like, you're a spy, you should go to this part of the level because you're on the red team and this is what's going on. You're an Engie, you should go over here. And I realized that especially when I started to try to make it so that the Engie bots could also build and do things, and realized I didn't have any of the code infrastructure needed to do that. So the Engies are still the SOSIG agent in this scene that still don't have anything special, but that'll be coming early next year, and when it comes, it will be with a sort of team manager archetype system in that scene that will allow me to do something as complex as like a capture point mode, and possibly some sort of defense-y kind of mode, especially with the Engie tech in here. I also didn't put the teleporters in yet because the SOSIG agents can't respond to it. I tried doing it a really just sort of like, oh, they're within range, just move them over here, and it was actually quite macabre because half the time, because of the inertia involved, I wasn't canceling something outright, so they would actually land at the exit teleporter completely torn apart, like their torso would go and their head and the rest of them wouldn't. It was appropriate to the fiction, but not really what people would want after the first couple times. So once again, early next year. Anywho, I'm about to head off, in part because I'm out of breath. I've had a cold all week, so I'm which might actually be bronchitis based on how my lungs are feeling, and I need to get back to getting stuff ready for Meatmas Day. Remember, very early PST time, there will be goodies underneath the Meatmas tree in the snow globe scene. So make sure to tear yourself away from your family very briefly on the morning of the 25th and take a look at what Santon has gotten you all. And hopefully it won't just be a giant bag of coal. Anywho, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Last minute panic shopping for the holiday, or just chilling out and not doing anything like that at all, which is what I'm going to be doing. Anywho, be well. Peace.